One of the most difficult areas to defend in paddle is this left corner on the backhand side. So now we're going to talk about the technique that you need to have in order to defend these balls and some bonus tips on what you should be looking for. The first part of good defense is to have good preparation. So as soon as the ball leaves your opponent on their racket, you can tell if it's going to go to your right side of the body or the left. And immediately, if you know it's going to the left, you know, unless you're going to turn, which most of the time you aren't, most of the time you're going to hit a backhand. So you take that racket immediately back to the backhand. The biggest problem a lot of players have is the ball comes across and it comes into this corner and they keep the racket here, and then at the last minute they try and swing a desperate attempt to try and hit that ball, and they end up losing control of it. So as soon as it comes off your opponent's rackets and you know it's going to be on the backhand side, take that racket back and have good early preparation. This will definitely help your shot. Linked to this is the decision-making process. So we take this racket back as soon as it's going into that corner, and then we decide what we're going to do. And it's a big mistake with the return of serve is a classic example, that the players serve into the glass and we move across and then we decide if we're going to play with or without the glass. But the racket should go back first, and then you decide if you're going to step up to hit before or you move back to play off the glass. It's the same with the double glass, it's the same without the glass. Take the racket back first and then you decide what you're going to do with the ball. So when it comes to the take back of the racket, from your ready position here, I want you to imagine that when you take the racket back into this position with your left hand on the throat of the racket, I want you to imagine that someone is pulling the racket back like this, or you've got a magnet on the end of your racket and the glass, so that when you come to this position, you're being pulled back and led by the racket. This will help you keep your shoulders turned. This is also going to help you get behind the ball. So when you take that racket back, imagine it's pulling you back and you are following that racket back. So in order for you to have the most amount of options in terms of the shot, you need to make sure that you are behind the contact. If the contact is behind you, all you can do is flick, or what we often see is a scoop, and then you really have no choice of where to hit the ball. If you can get behind the ball so it reaches in front of you, then from here you can hit Chiquita, angle, lob, fast, whatever you like, but that can only happen if the contact is in front of your body. Remember, when you're playing either with the glass, double glass or single back glass, that you are playing that ball and really you are just guiding that ball back. And even more so when you're defending. If your opponent's hit a fast volley and it's bouncing off one or two glasses, that your main job is just to place the racket on the ball and guide that back. You are not hitting into that ball. A, you don't have time, and B, you don't want the ball to go back too fast to the other end because it doesn't give you time to recover and it's easier for your opponent. So when that ball comes in, regardless of the speed, try and get behind that ball like we talked about, racket back early, behind the ball, and then you are just guiding that shot, often a push shot. Now if you come from tennis like I have, we spent my whole junior tennis career talking about not pushing and being aggressive, but here this is actually a push. You get used to pushing or guiding that ball back so you can be accurate and also importantly slow the speed. So for our extended version that we're going to put on the platform, thepadelschool.com, we're going to talk about a little trick that you can use to get the very low balls back. But here I'm going to put a link to the Padel School so that you can go and check out our community, our courses. We have loads of video content on there, all structured in a way that can learn from beginner to advanced level when it comes to defending the balls with the back glass. And then down here, I'm also going to put on how you can return the serve on the backhand side, because that is also very tricky.